probably we all accept it as an axiom. But in the face of all axioms, things that we know very clearly that we accept, which don't even question, have a tendency to become old, loses its force, loses its meaning. And since this particular subject is so vital, very basic meaning of our existence, I would like to explain a few things. Every Jew knows that Talmud Torah K'neged Kula, that to learn has an overall significance that our Chachamim says in the Mishnah in the Sechstaya, Talmud Torah K'neged Kula. The learning of the Torah has importance and significance that is as great as the totality of all the mitzvahs. Learning is respected by every nation, every civilized nation, every civilized people in the world. The Greeks respected learning. Every major culture respected learning. But that's not the mitzvah of Talmud Torah. Talmud Torah means that we have to go out of our way. We have to go against the inertia of our body and the external crust of our thinking. We have to go against our body, against our external thinking, and force ourselves, and deprive ourselves, and convince ourselves that we have to learn. So the question arises, if we'll ask an honest, courageous question, why is learning so difficult? The Jews are not such a, they don't make an idol out of learning, knowing, being enlightened. What is the true significance of learning? If we there's no difference between a man and a woman. I'll tell you. It could be that today, that's what the woman has to learn. In those areas that a woman has to learn. It could be that women today is possibly more than maybe the significance of a woman's learning today could be more than a man. The reason that I won't go into knowledge, you may understand yourself. And we're not talking now about, the laws of salt and meat. The laws of salt and meat, you can get something in English for 50 cents and you know the laws, and that's it, period. We're talking about a pursuit that a person has to drive himself or herself for the rest of their life. It's not talking about what bracha you make over the bracha, which is significant and important. If you understand what brachas are all. This is talking about the whole Tanakh, the whole Midrashim, learning that a person who's tired from a Shabbos and a Saturday night has to pick himself up in a cold day and come to a class. This is not talking about a din. So really, if we are to dedicate and commit ourselves and derive ourselves and really want to understand what is the significance of learning, what is the place of learning, why is it important. Yes, I'm sure if we had an open discussion, we would come up with some very, very cogent reasons we would come up with some very, very cogent reasons. I respect your intelligence and creativity of your mind. But I want to learn the reasons today that I don't think you come up with. First, I want to learn with you a Rambam which I learned a number of times here, and as many times as you learn it, it's still not enough. I'll repeat the din again. There is a din in the Torah, a mysterious din which we don't understand clearly, in the law of Horeg B'Shoy, someone who kills unintentionally. Unintentionally. So in the Torah there's a mysterious parsha, it's repeated in a few places. The din of Orei Miklat, there were 6 Orei Miklat, refuge cities, where someone who killed unintentionally had to leave his home and run away from these cities of refuge. Orei Miklat. Now there's a whole Gemara, there's a whole big discussion in the Gemara about the various dinim, the various laws that grow out of this mitzvah, this commandment. Now this can happen to anyone. Chas v'sholom, Hashem Yirach, and any person can kill another person to show him. So there's a question in the Gemara, what if a Talmud, in Yeshiva, they killed someone to show him? He learned in the Yeshiva, he killed someone to show him. So the Rambam, in the 7th Perek of Seich Shmuz HaNefesh, the Rambam says, Talmud should go le'ir miklat. If a Talmud, a student of Torah who learns in the yeshiva, should go le'ir miklat, who has to go into exile and live in a city of refuge, Maglim Rabbi Ima. So the law is, he does not go to the city of refuge all by his lonesome self. But the law is, Maglim Rabbi Ima, you must send his Rebbe, you must send his teacher with him involved. How do I know this? Where does this peculiar din grow from? Shenemar v'choy shon. In the chapter, in the Perek in Chumash, where the Torah teaches us the din of Horei Miklat of Golus, it says you shall take the person who was Horei B'Shogeg, who killed B'Shogeg, and you should take him and send him to the Horei Miklat, V'choishon, and you shall see that he lives there. This is the dictate of Hashem Yisborach. You have to see that he lives there. You're not sending him there to languish in a dungeon. There has to be the physical provisions that he should live there. So the Gemara and the Rambam extracts this from the Gemara. The Gemara says that since a person goes to Golus, there has to be all the necessities of life there. So the Rambam brings the Gemara, Aselo Kidei Sheyichye. It's incumbent upon the Sanhedrin, Aselo Kidei Sheyichye. You have to do and prepare so that this person who killed the Shogeg unwillingly will have the ability to survive and to live there pleasantly. So why? What does it say? So therefore the Rambam says, from this law, from this pasuk that it says, V'choisham, and he shall live there, V'choisham, and he shall live there, we learn out from this saying, V'choisham, and he shall live there, we learn out from this that if a Talmud of a Rebbe kills B'Shogeg, if a Talmud of a Rebbe kills B'Shogeg, then you must send the Rebbe into exile with him. How do we learn it out from this? So the Rambam adds his own words. V'chayei ba'alei chokhma u'mevaksheha v'loi talmud Torah k'misa chashuvim. The Rambam says, V'chai ba'alei chokhma u'mevaksheha. The life of those that possess the chokhmas of Torah u'mevaksheha, and those that desire to learn Torah. V'loi talmud Torah, without the ability to learn Torah, k'misa chashuvim. This is to them tantamount to death for them. The Rambam says, it's obvious It's obvious that if a Talmud, if a student kills the shogeg and he has to go to Golis, it's obvious. Since it says B'choisham, it's obvious that you must send his Rebbe there, regardless of who his Rebbe is. His Rebbe could be the Gadol Ador. If you're going to send the Talmud, he could be the biggest man in the generation. You must send the Rebbe, he has to go there too, otherwise you can't send the Talmud. Why? Because the life of those that possess the wisdom of Torah and those that desire the wisdom of Torah, if you take away this chokhmah of Torah, it's like you're taking away their life and you're giving them the death punishment. And the din is that you're not allowed to give misa, you're not allowed to punish with death someone who killed the shogeg unwillingly and unwittingly. So therefore, you have to take the Rebbe who didn't do anything, and he has to leave his family, and he has to go to Golis with the Talmud, otherwise you cannot send the Talmud to Golis. Here our question comes into focus. In a practical sense, a person killed the shogeg, the Talmud. A Rebbe, you can fantasize all sorts of conditions. You could let your mind go range and go free. You could fantasize what the Rebbe could be an old man, and it could be a very, very simple tzaddik, a very simple Rosh Hashiva, a very, very big man. If the Talmud knows he must be. He won't go there. And the Talmud will go to Golis, to Nitzach Shuvah, the Rambam, this is a Rambam, and this is a law book, this is a Codex Judaica, this is a law book. In this book it says that if you don't send the Rebbe with them, it's like yourself. So our question comes up here. It doesn't say that the Talmud can't take Sforim along. Or Nicholas wasn't a city where there was, it wasn't an underworld city. It wasn't the Barbary coast. Nicholas was a Jewish city. There were Rabbanim there. They probably had their own yeshiva there. There were shuls there. There were Talmidei Chachamim there. He had to have his Rebbe. And if you take away from him his Rebbe, you kill him. Now our question begins to broaden out. And we want to ask the question, what is going on? What's the meaning of this thing? What's the meaning of this law? What's this learning business? He has to have such perfection in learning that they have to take his Rebbe who didn't do anything and send him to go. Such perfection in learning. What is this? What? So there's a shul there, there's a rabbi there, there's a rav there, there's a Rosh Hashiva there, there are Sforim there, there are yeshiva folks there. You have to drag his Rebbe. And this is something that tickles the mind. What is it? What is the learning? What's learning? What's learning? What do we mean by learning? Why does the Rebbe have to go through being uprooted? Which is not easy, never. He could learn. The answer to this question and this Rambam and our original question about the significance of learning is understanding the first parasha in Kriyas Shema. V'yohavta et Hashem Elokecha b'chol levoncha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol yeddecha. And you shall love Hashem Elokecha with your whole heart, b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol yeddecha. All the Baba. The whole, everything. Very powerful. The Gemara says, Levacha, doesn't say Libcha. Levacha was two bases, the Gemara says this means, which we can't learn now. B'shnei Yitzrecha ma'yetzer Torah v'ma'yetzer Hora, which means with your positive forces, and if it's necessary sometimes to invoke and in given situations to use negative forces that there are in the heart. But all of us, you have to use that word from your whole heart. says, "V'hoyu hadvarim ha'elu asher anochi mitzavach ha'yom al-levodecha." First sentence commands us we should love the Rebbeinu Shalom with our whole heart, with our whole soul, with our whole strength. And then again, the second sentence in which we start, "V'hoyu hadvarim ha'elu." It will be, if these words will be, "Asher anochi mitzavach ha'yom," that I command you to say al-levodecha in your heart. Someone says a good question, it's a subtle question, very delicate. He says, what do you mean out of the second sentence says, "V'hoyu hadvarim ha'elu asher anochi mitzav hayom al levavecha," and if these words will be upon your heart. You just gave your heart away. You want heart away. You don't have any heart left. If the first sentence says, "V'yohavtis Hashem l'kecha b'chol levacha," you should love the Rebbeinu Shalom b'chol levacha. Rebbeinu Shalom, I love you with every ounce I can muster, every cell in my body. B'chol levacha, I give you my whole heart and soul. What's now? Now the second sentence, and if these words will be upon your heart. I don't have any heart left. I gave it to you. The question might be slightly rhetorical, but the point that's brought out. I want to explain these two sentences. This is the key to the whole situation. The Ikrim, Rav Yosef Albo, the Sefer of Ikrim, classical Sefer in Judaism, in Yiddishkeit. Yosef Albo asks an extremely logical question. He asks, the very first word of Krishna, "V'yahavtis Hashem Elokecha," you should love Hashem Elokecha. What do you mean to love the Rebbeinu Shalom? Two things that have a common denominator could love each other. I'm a human being. You're a human being. We have something in common. So there could be the emotion, there could be the possibility in given situations. In a proper climate, there could be love between two people. But the Ikram asks, what do you mean love to the Rebbeinu Shalom? Ein loy guf, vein loy dmusaguf. The Rebbeinu Shalom is incorporeal. What do you even know what it is? We know he exists. Very good. No one, from time immemorial, no one knows what the Rebbeinu Shalom intrinsically is. That's an unit. It's faith. It's an extra faith. That's an unit. He exists. Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. But the emotion of Ahava, love, what does he call it? I don't want to mention his name. That's the moon. That's the great leap that we take. The Rebbeinu Shalom is evil. Love what? What do we know what to love? I love that faith. It appeals to me as better. I have a sense of aesthetic. I love that picture. I love that person. I love that group. But V'yohavta, he asks a question which is a bomb. What? The Rebbeinu Shalom is to us iron, Ein Sof. The human mind, the greatest mind, and all the greatest minds, and all the minds from the times of Adoration come to a certain line, and after that line, we don't know. And this is our base in Torah. We don't know. Up to Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. We know what the Rebbeinu Shalom is intrinsically. We know his midas. We know how his hand manifests itself in the universe, in the cosmos. Beyond the manifestation, we know nothing. Now we can understand the flow, the connection of these two things. The Medrash says, "Ayraisa v'kutshavrichu chadru." The Medrash says, "Ayraisa Torah v'kutshavrichu." It's like one thing, an extension of one thing, one entity. There's a posuk in Mishlei, and the Medrash brings it in numerous places concerning describing the personality and the character, the basic nature of them. The Shlomo Melech says in Mishlei, "Bo'eye etzloi, omoy." So to speak, the Torah describes its personality and its origin and its nature. Bo'eye etzloi, and I was to him, to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, omoy. A child that you read. Shashuim yom yom. I was his plaything daily. B'terem horim you love it. Before there was a cosmos, before there was a world. The Chachamim tell us in the Medrashim concerning the very basic nature of Torah. Bo'eye etzloi omon shashuim yom yom. I was the Rebbeinu Shalom's toy, his plaything. This is what the Medrash says about Torah and the Pasuk of Bo'eye etzloi omon shashuim yom yom. Rishon has a toy, a little baby. Oh my. The Chachamim are telling us that we only understand the Rebbeinu Shalom through the manifestation of His will. You see how a toy brings joy. You see how a plaything, a shashuim is an article of pure joy. Someone buys a beautiful antique, that's shashuim. Someone buys something that its only existence is to give aesthetic satisfaction, that's shashuim. So the Chachamim said, you know what the relationship of Torah to the Rebbeinu Shalom is? It is the relationship of an object of joy to the owner. The Torah is an article of joy to the Rebbeinu Shalom. It's a manifestation so that we can hear it. This is the Rebbeinu Shalom's joy. This is what he loves. The Medrash says on Torah, on the Pasuk in Mishlei, "Va'ayat v'yomesh asher yom." From time immemorial. From here, the question begins. V'yohavta es Hashem Elokecha b'chol levavcha. You should love the Rebbeinu Shalom, your emotions, all your passions. The word Ava is a discussion of the limud in itself, what does it mean? But all the love, all the Ava, all the positive forces, all the creative forces, all the energy. How do you do it? How can you have an Ava? You don't be a secret, that's the question. What can... Your point of contact with the Rebbeinu Shalom. Your point of contact is through that article of joy, through that shashuim. He gave us there's a pchina, there's an aspect where he made manifest his rotten. This is my rotten. Torah is my rotten. This is my rotten. You nivra, you created, you are a nivra, you are the beginning, you are the end. You nivra, you want your point of contact with the Rebbeinu Shalom, the go-between, the bridge between you and the Rebbeinu Shalom, between the commandments of your Hafez Hashem Elokecha b'chol levavcha. You want to know the full impact. Oh, I love people. I meet people, they love Yiddishkeit, and they love Torah, they love this, they love that. Do you have this Hashem Elokecha b'chol levavcha? So all you have voted for Eila Hashem Elokecha. The receptacle for that love, the crucible where that love ferments, has voted for Eila. Out of that. That's the second knowledge. person can't live without Ahava. Ahava is air. You can live without air. You can't live without food. You can't live without air. The koyach Ahava that's in the neshama, you can't live without that. You use it. You use it for the wrong thing. You take a person and you extract from his neshama the koyach of Ahava totally, he's a vegetable. A vegetable. V'yohavtes Hashem b'chol levavcha. How do you come to that after we don't know that? But the Ahava is the dynamite like they could say. The second part is answer the question. V'hoyu havvavim v'eila asher anochim mitzavcha hayom levavecha. Through v'er ye'etzlei omoi shashuyim b'chol yoim, through this article of joy that the Rebbeinu Shalom Godra Chachmasa Yizbor. This is our point of contact. This is the highest point. This is our point of contact. This is where we touch the Rebbeinu Shalom's Ratzon, his will. Through touch. One corridor leads into another corridor that leads into another corridor. The corridor is meaning cheder, it's meaning cheder, it's meaning cheder. We say the word will. We bandy about, make a banality of the word will. Right? The whole bria, the whole cosmos, all the mysteries, all the chachmas, all the we're nothing. It's only a manifestation of the Rebbeinu Shalom. That's his Ratzon, and that Ratzon is called Shashui and joy. You have to Hashem Elokecha. And it's a question, how? Teretz is, V'hoyu hadvarim ha'ela she'anim mitzavcha hayom. With this we can understand what that Rambam says. Talmud Shegola, the Galan Rabbayim. Talmud means somebody who wants to learn, somebody who's learning. He's a mevakesh chokmah, he desires this. He's not going for a degree. It has no practical applications in his life. It's not going to secure him economically, socially, in no way. He's a mevakesh chokmah, which means he's mevakesh the Rebbeinu Shalom's will. And the Rambam says, this is what he wants. He wants to reach that point of shashuyim. He wants to, where the Rebbeinu Shalom says, this makes me happy. This is my happiness. This is what I have. Oh, I'll soon tell you around on the book and you'll all be very mad at me. You're going to be angry. I'm going to soon tell you. Next step, if I don't forget, I hope, remind me, I'm going to tell you soon the Rambam is very in the book. This Talmud, who is a mevakesh chokhmah, he wants to reach that point where the Rebbeinu says, yes, you've come in contact with my shashuyim. And he gets it through this Rebbe. A Rebbe is a shidduch. A Rebbe is a shidduch. The Gemara says, Lav mi kol adam zoich lilmod. A man could be the greatest man in the world, he can't learn by him. And he goes to a man, he's a quarter of this man's stature. By him he learns, and by him he grows. Because in Neshama, that's his zivit, that's his partner, that's his share of Neshama. And this is his Rebbe. You're going to send him to go, and he'll learn there. He'll have the Gemara, and he'll have Yeshiva Boch, and he'll have a Yeshiva, and he'll have a Rebbe, and he'll have a Rav. But he won't get to that point. He's lacking his Rebbe, so you're taking it away from him. He'll never come to that high point you're taking away from him. Then he misses it, and then the whole thing is for us to reach out for that shashur which makes the Rebbeinu Shalom happy. That's his point. I'll tell you the book which will explain this. How many people are there in the world? I think 2 billion. 2 billion people in the world. Let's say 2 billion. You're worried about population explosion? Probably. There are 2 billion people in the world, you know? White people. Indians in the jungles in Brazil. 2 billion people. 2 billion people that could feel pain, and they feel pain. pleasure, that desire joy, desire happiness, and I can cry and cry. The world is an ocean of peace. Whole world. Whole world. The Rambam says in the guidance of the Torah, in the Torah of the Torah. The Rambam says, you know what the Rebbeinu Shalom has from the whole world? You know what he has from the whole world? What's his profit from the whole world? What does he have? What's in it for me? What's in it for Rebbeinu Shalom? The Rambam says, two places I just remind myself of another place. The Rambam says that the fruit of the whole world, of this tree with so many branches and so many leaves, are the few chazonim that come out of it. I ask you a question. What kind of talk is that? 2 billion people! 2 billion broken hearts! 2 billion suffering! And the Rambam says that all that the Rebbeinu Shalom has from the world is just a few chachamim. Because there's no point to the world. There is a heated, modern, contemporary discussion in philosophy. Is there any meaning to life? And these are not 5-cent philosophers. There are existentialists that say life is absurd. That's their word for it. They say it's absurd. It has no meaning. And there were philosophers before us. Schopenhauer wrote the world as a will. This is a pessimistic philosophy. Life is a lie, and life is a fraud, and life has no meaning, and all there is in life is pain. Heated arguments in the high echelons of philosophy. Why life has no meaning? Because civilization and humanity and people didn't reach this shashuyim, didn't come to Chochmah. We live without Chochmah. I read an article recently in the National Geographic magazine, respectable magazine, about Indians that are what they call from the Stone Age. In Brazil, in the jungles in Brazil. So about 20 years ago or 30 years ago, there were 200,000 of the specific tribes that lived what they call the Stone Age. They didn't use any pots, they didn't use any pins, they didn't wear any clothing. They had their own culture. You know what they did to them? People flew with helicopters and shot them with machine guns to play. People flew sticks of dynamite out and played with dynamite. I think we shouldn't have did it! Sure we shouldn't have did it. We did it to choose the concentration camps that won't get started. The fascists did it to the Ethiopians in 1937 when Mussolini went into Hitler. They did the exact same thing. And there was a guy who wrote how these explosions of bombs hit the people and described in beautiful poetry how there's no point. The Rambam says in Ma'aviduchim it's simple, the Rambam. The Rambam is simple, the Rambam is beautiful, there's no point. The pessimists are right, the Rambam says. Come to the only Pesach for the only hope for the world is the few people. The Shashuyim. There's no such thing as a person living without Chochmah. When I begin to think, who killed the Jews in Europe? I begin to think about who. When I passed school, kids stand outside and get fired. They call me saying, of course, make remarks. Some of them are wild, or some of them doesn't bother me. I say to myself, no. These are people, these are human beings. The whole point is, the whole humanity is missing. It's not two people, it's not 2 million. The whole humanity, the whole Catholics, the whole goal, what are we talking about? If I'm to take this at face value, then Taka's existence is totally, irrevocably, absolutely absurd. No. It's fucking Torah. There's a window, there's a door, there's light, there's shashuyim. There's shashuyim. The human being was meant to be something. There's a statue. There is no more cosmopolitan international religion than prayer. The Rambam says in Shemona Trokin, the Rambam is so sharp, he says, it's so clear. He says, you know, they build a castle. You ever see a castle? I was in a palace. I never was in a castle. I was in a palace. In Louis XIV in Versailles. I never knew what a king was till I saw a palace. I never understood it. Taking history, reading history, everything. I never knew what a king was. You never knew. You never know what monarchy is. You know. Rambam says castles get bigger than a palace. A castle is more difficult to build. The palaces were later. I see pictures of castles. It's something between heaven and earth, a building of the most beautiful way. Rambam says, you know why they built the castle? Not for the lord or the king who was in. 300 years after the king died and the lord died, there's no more kings and there's no more lords and there's no one living in the castle. Do you know why they built the castle? The Rambam says, you know why they built the castle? The Rambam says, because 300 years after everyone is dead and it's haunted and it's a rainy night and there's a big storm and it's raining and thundering and there's a Talmid Chacham walking along the road and he needs some place protection for the storm and he goes into this castle and he lights a little fire and he warms himself from the elements. He starts shivering. Muhammad says this is very done that for this fire. The castle came to its fruition. He had waited 300 years. 300 years it waited to come to this point. Just understand what he's saying. Humanity and genius and talent has to grow, has to rise, has to be elevated. And its elevation is in the Rav Shlomo's roots. Its elevation, its sublimation is in coming in contact with you can't become elevated by seeing an inspiring movie on the 12 o'clock show. That's not elevation. Elevation is by absorbing the eventual and corruption by a person learning, growing, and trying to pull. What? This is the mitzvah of learning. Without the mitzvah Talmud Torah, Kinder, I tell you, there is no future, absolutely not for whole humanity. Whole humanity, you know what it says in Tanakh about Mashiach? Mashiach is not only going to come to you. against the whole world. Basically, they feel you call it l'chora. Learning, women learning. Some comedian, some facetious opportunist said, they should make a kollel for women. He meant it to use it for his little career, his petty little career. But I'm telling you the truth. You should know that when Bimson, Lazy, and Hirsch came to Frankfurt, you know his story. Frankfurt was a city that weren't a million of 10 Shemesh. There were 10 Jews in Frankfurt that kept Shabbat. And Baron William von Rothschild brought the Easter for not the first thing what he did, he made a Mädchen shoe. German, that means a girl. But when you flip the first thing you do is a girl. The Germans destroyed the community of Frankfurt. It was one of the only and had 80 years old and 70 years. It was one of the most flourishing, powerful, and the most beautiful Jewish communities in the world. All from that nature. Learn. You have to be able to market.